What is going on, guys? Jess here. So it's been a while since we checked out a speaker on this channel, but Anker wanted to sponsor a video on their new Motion X600 speaker, and I thought it looked pretty cool, so here we are. And I just want to put out the disclaimer that I put out on all of my sponsored videos, is that I'm not going to say anything that I wouldn't feel comfortable saying anyways, even though it is a sponsored video. Like, if it's not something I would have promoted anyways, I just wouldn't accept the sponsorship. So with that disclaimer out of the way, let's break into this and see what we're dealing with. Okay, so this speaker retails for $200, and I think it's for what you're getting, it feels like it's a very reasonable price to be asking for, because I think the main headlining feature on this is going to be spatial audio, including like stereo and the surround sound experience, but out of a single unit. Now, I will say that I am going into this with a healthy amount of skepticism, just because, well, I think it's really difficult to get spatial audio, or really even like just stereo, out of a single unit, just because there's not enough physical distance between all the different drivers. But the way that they're doing this is that there are 5 different drivers with 5 amplifiers in here, each pointing in a different direction. So we've got a channel facing forward, one facing on the left and the right side, as well as one pointing directly upwards. Just gonna open it up and voila. Okay, so first off, packaging, very nice. We got some very good closed cell foam, so very little chance of you breaking it. And basically all you've got in the box here is a manual, paperwork, USB-C to C cable, as well as the speaker itself. So keeping it very simple, and I don't mind that, because sometimes when speakers include a lot of like extra things that you don't really need, you end up placing it in a random spot, forgetting about it, and it just essentially becomes extra trash, which, you know, nowadays, you know, who really needs all that stuff? Okay, so here is the speaker itself, and first impression is that this thing is really solid. So I can tell right off the bat that the handle itself, as well as this whole enclosure, is made out of metal. I think it's aluminum, and it just feels really solid. And I just like how it goes across the entire top of the speaker, so it's really easy to carry around and very comfortable as well. So like I was saying, the main headlining feature of this speaker is the spatial audio experience. So we've got 4 drivers hidden behind this front grille here. So 2, I believe, facing directly forward, 2 kind of angled off to the left and right, as well as this last one on top to bounce off the ceiling or whatever to give you that height channel. I think it's also important to note that just because this is a spatial audio focused speaker, this is not an omnidirectional speaker, so you do still have to be facing in front of it to get the full effect. And on the backside, we do have some ventilation, but I think that is just for like the bass ports to have some sort of a airflow through the back, not for any actual sound to come out. And I think overall, design-wise, it's a really clean looking speaker with very minimal branding all around. Just the Soundcore branding right here and their logo on the top right there. And functionality-wise, on the top, we've got all the buttons you really need: power button, Bluetooth pairing, spatial audio, bass boost, as well as a volume up and down, and play pause on the top, all very conveniently located on top, very easy to find as well. And I think it is important to note that this is designed to be an indoor use speaker, and even though it is IPX7 waterproof rated, it's more for just peace of mind. If like if you spill a drink on it, or if you get something on it, you can just wash it off really quickly with some water without worrying about it breaking too much. But also, I think to get the optimal audio experience out of this speaker, you do want to be using it indoor anyways, because with that spatial audio, it does rely on bouncing sound off of the walls to get kind of those behind you and above you type of sounds to hit your ears. But I do see this as being a really good option for bringing with you room to room wherever you need, just to get some great sound with you throughout your home. And as far as battery life goes, this is rated for 12 hours of continuous use, and that was measured at 1/4 power with the bass boost off. I assume once you kind of turn the volume up or turn the bass boost on, you're going to see those numbers drop drop, but overall very respectable number. And it does take 6 hours to recharge off of a completely dead battery to 100%. And as far as sound goes, this has some very impressive specs on paper, and we'll see if those stack up once we test it in a second. But it has 50 watts of output power, which for something of this size is really loud. It also has a fairly wide frequency spectrum, so it goes from 50 hertz all the way up to 40 kilohertz. So yeah, with that out of the way, let's turn it on and see what this thing sounds like. All right, so there it is. Ooh. See, I kind of like that. Once you turn it on, it plays that tone and you can really feel like the bass coming out. Like my table was just vibrating a little bit, which is always a good sign. And it immediately goes into Bluetooth pairing mode and is very straightforward. There we go, we're paired. And yeah, I think I'm gonna listen to it a little bit just off camera because I can't play any non-copyrighted music, but I'll check back in with you in a second. And also, I'll play some samples for you of some non-copyrighted music. And this is something in the past in speaker videos that I've been very reluctant to do, just because I don't really see the point, to be honest, because playing sound through the speakers into my mic through YouTube is not really a good representation of the speaker's capabilities, but you guys keep on asking for it, so I'll just indulge you and hopefully you get something out of it. Okay, so I just spent a little bit testing out this speaker, and I let you guys hear a couple of samples, so hopefully you were able to hear for yourself to some extent what this speaker is all about. But I just gotta say right off the bat that I am really impressed with this speaker, like genuinely speaking. And I think just like they were advertising, definitely the first thing that really stuck out to me when I first turned the speaker on was the spatial audio, or really the whole like sound stage of this. Like the speaker definitely sounds much bigger than it actually is, like it's coming from a much wider area than it actually is. And you can definitely hear the difference between when you have these spatial audio functions turned on versus when you don't, because when you turn it off, it just sounds like a normal speaker, like what I would expect a speaker of this size to sound like. And to be honest, before I opened this package up, before I heard this speaker, I thought that this spatial audio feature was gonna be a gimmick, like a total just like they put it on there for marketing and nothing else, but you really can hear the difference between when it's on versus when it's off. And I don't know how well it translated over my microphone through YouTube and the compression that goes with that, but trust me, like in person, it's a night and day difference. And the other thing I wanted to mention on the speaker was the bass boost button. So a lot of speakers nowadays do have a bass boost function and a button for that, but what they do usually is just like bump up the low end and just forget about what happens to the rest of the sound. But I feel like on this speaker, when you turn on the bass boost, it actually does like some EQ magic to make it not sound terrible. Like I'm not a bass head by any means, and if you've seen any of my other videos on speakers, you'll know that yeah, I'm not a bass head. I don't really care about how much bass is in something if the rest of the sound sounds terrible. And it's not the case with this, which I am very glad to report. And I almost forgot to mention this, but this does support LDAC for high-res audio, but I think to get the most out of the sound on the speaker, you definitely want to download the Soundcore app on your phone to get the most control out of the sound, as well as update the firmware, which is very important. Okay, so now I'm on my phone opening the Soundcore app, and it's really easy to pair as long as the speaker is paired to your phone via Bluetooth. The whole process is very seamless. So I'll just walk you through the app. If you hit this top left corner, it's just if you have other Soundcore products, they're gonna appear here, but today we're looking at the Motion X600. So up on the top right, we've got some settings that we can change. So on the top, we've got voice prompts. So this does have a microphone built in for voice commands. You can also change the auto power off. So after 5, 10, 20, or 60 minutes, it'll automatically turn off to save power. And I really like that you can change that in the app and customize that to what you want, because in the past I've had speakers turn off after way too short of a time, and it's just a pain to have to walk back and turn it on every time you want to use it. So that's really good. Also, the option to update the firmware, which is, of course you need to do that, disconnect, and user manual. So go back, can change the volume, play, pause, and lastly, and most I think importantly, we've got the equalizer. So we've got here a couple of presets at the bottom. So Soundcore Signature, Voice, Treble Boost, and Balance. Now I've tried all these and I've tried messing around with it already, but I think the Soundcore Signature is the best. I think when they made this speaker, they've had their engineers and everything kind of calculate how to use their drivers and amplifiers specifically to get the best sound, and I think they did a really good job. But if for whatever reason you don't like the way that this sounds out of the box, you can go and make your own. So if we click into custom over here, you can adjust each of these individually. And if you want some more space, you can click this full band button over here to get a horizontal view, and then drag these into whatever position that you want. And the amount of control you get is pretty mind-boggling. And personally, I'm not gonna mess with it because I really like the way that it sounds in the preset Soundcore Signature, so I'm just gonna keep it there. But yeah, all in all, that's what this speaker is about, and I gotta say, I am genuinely impressed with this. I know this is a sponsored video, but believe me when I say I would not be promoting a product like this, and I would not be saying these things if I wouldn't say them without the sponsorship anyways. And I think what's even more impressive is that this thing only costs $200. Now, for some of you, $200 may seem like a pretty steep price for a Bluetooth speaker, but as someone who's spent a lot of time looking at speakers and testing out a lot of speakers, this one definitely punches way above its weight class in terms of, well, its actual weight, but also its price. Like the level of soundstage that you get with this, as well as the amount of bass and how well everything's balanced, really makes it sound like something that's a lot more expensive than it actually is, as well as a lot bigger and heavier than it actually is, which is always welcome. Now, I will say it doesn't get crazy loud, but I think that's definitely okay. It's enough to fill most rooms very comfortably, and personally, I would much rather have it sound good but not get that loud than it be loud and not sound good. So really happy with that. And what's more is that they don't seem to have really sacrificed anything in terms of build quality either. We've got a pretty much full aluminum construction except for this top panel here, as well as the bottom, which are a high quality rubberized plastic. So yeah, overall, I think if you're looking for a really good indoor Bluetooth speaker, this one definitely should be on your radar. Just everything, including like the build quality, sound quality, spatial audio experience, for this price of $200 is seriously impressive, and yeah, really couldn't recommend this more. And oh yeah, also just, I think it looks really good too. Like, I don't think there's anything you can really complain about on this. So yeah, Motion X600, check it out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.